Evgeny, I've been reading a lot about the Arabian world, Islamization, and these so-called refugees, along with this conspiracy theory that our own intelligence agencies are inciting them to embark upon a path of destruction.
Path of destruction? Is that from personal experience?
Yeah, it sounds like something personal. Anyway, he says he's lost here and wants you to separate facts from fakes.
From fiction. Never mind. So, facts from fake, right? First of all, there is one particular group of people who are utterly obsessed with seeing the Kremlin strays everywhere. They practically live and breathe Putin. Putin's managed to worm his way into every household here. Not just the jingo households, but the liberal ones as well. Let's figure it out scientifically. Any of you, provided you've got the desire to learn, could take the time to understand what Islamism is and when the Arabic conquest began. The Arabic conquest began in the first half of the 7th century. Not even a trace of Putin or Chekasa agents back then. No Russia whatsoever. Oh, of course, as for ancient Rus with its Aryan Superman, yes, they were busily building something big and great until those wily Jews showed up, cabbaged the lot and stole everything. So, nothing but the empty fields here. And as soon as Islamism emerged, this ideology launched its aggression, conquering vast territories at an almost deranged speed. Picture it, a minuscule speck on the map, use those interactive maps if you'd like to see the Arabic conquest unfold. That tiny blot swelled like a tumor, spreading its reach across vast expanses. First the entire Arabian Peninsula, then the entirety of North Africa, and onward towards the Caucasus region. Next, the Italian boot the Apennine Peninsula. Next, stormed into Spain, the Iberian Peninsula. They even pushed into central France. This was 732, the year of the Battle of Poitiers. They pressed northwards, coming close to Tours. That's how far their conquest reached, a campaign driven by religious ideology, and only there at Poitiers, the Europeans under the leadership of Charles Martel put an end to their advance. Centuries rolled by, and the ideology marched forward. Enter the Ottomans, starting the Ottoman conquest and the rise of the Ottoman Empire. They conquered Byzantium and launched yet another assault on Europe. Once again, they invaded, once again, they were beaten. This time in Vienna. This is when and where they were stopped. But today, they are not just welcomed into Europe, but showered with money as well. And some still wonder, oh, where did all those terrorists come from? But what have they been doing for centuries? Has anything truly changed? Look, there are no terrorist attacks in Japan. Why? They simply don't let some people in. In Slovakia, there are no bombings. Why? They also don't allow some people in. But wherever they are let in, it's so obvious, isn't it? Of course, all local brain-dead officials can grin foolishly and play their political games. It's like, oh great, let's be friends, alright? Look how they're bombing people there, we could be besties forever. Yes, such methods might pass for strategy, and po-faced fools might cheer. But what's the point of stealing all that cash here? Why stash away villas in Europe if they're just going to be blown up? That's idiocy. But did anyone ever mistake these dolts for being smart? You must examine the phenomenon itself, what it truly is. Open a historical encyclopedia and delve into the history of Islamic terrorism in the 90s, before Putin was in power, in the 80s, even the 70s. Here's the thing, that particular world, let's label it as such, failed catastrophically to evolve into a civilized one. These countries, shackled by a certain religious ideology, still linger in medieval obscurity poverty and misery, because there religion crushes the individual so entirely that inventing, developing science and any creativity are all but impossible. As a result, they've become truly defective and behave rather aggressively. About the European colonization of Arabian lands. Why calling them Arabian? Arabs have captured these lands. Besides, some of these regions, like the North African coast, were rife with piracy. The French in the 19th century were forced to conquer it, if only to stop squandering the lives of their soldiers. They built roads, introduced medicine and constructed houses, and what came next? The liberation movements, cries of "leave us alone," bombings, terrorism, fanatics and all the rest. Fine, they were left alone, left with oil-pumping machine, roads, medicine, all of it handed over to them. And now what? No, you bad terrible enslavers, now we're moving in with you. What's that supposed to mean? But the leftists insist that we are guilty. Of what exactly?